Dorilla the Gorilla sat on a worn wooden chair outside his hut, staring at a pile of bananas that used to look like enough. It wasn't enough anymore. Retirement, he muttered, was supposed to feel safer than this. The forest had changed. Food prices doubled. Shelter repairs cost more. Even the river water somehow wasn't free anymore. Dorilla was 67, too old to start over, or at least that's what he believed. Then Saru the monkey swung by, laughing, holding a shiny new fruit drink.
Dorilla, you're still counting bananas. You should be enjoying life.
Saru grinned.
Easy for you to say. How are you affording all that?
Saru winked.
Simple. I don't think. I just spend.
Dorilla looked back at his shrinking pile. That's when it hit him. He didn't have a spending problem. He had an income problem. And no one had warned him that retirement without income isn't retirement. It's just slow decline. A few days later, Saru returned, this time with someone new. Smooth voice, sharp smile, expensive-looking fur. Kitsune the fox. Kitsune said, bowing slightly.
Dorilla, I hear you want financial freedom.
Dorilla hesitated.
I just want stability.
Kitsune chuckled.
Same thing. All you need is one move. A simple investment, high return, low risk.
Saru jumped in.
I already put in everything I have.
Dorilla raised an eyebrow.
Everything?
Saru paused.
And some I don't have yet.
Dorilla sighed. Kitsune leaned closer.
Dorilla, your problem is thinking too small. You need a big win. Put your bananas here and you'll never worry again.
For a moment, Dorilla considered it. One move, one solution, one escape. But something felt off.
Where does the money come from?
Dorilla asked. Kitsune smiled wider.
From the system?
That answer told Dorilla everything. Because in his entire life, he learned one thing. If you don't understand how money is made, you're the one it's being made from. Weeks passed. Dorilla didn't invest with Kitsune, but he also didn't do anything else, and that was the real mistake. His banana pile kept shrinking, a little here, a little there. Food, repairs, medicine. Until one morning, it was almost gone. Dorilla stared at what remained.
I worked 40 years for this,
he whispered. That same day, a slow, steady Awaz approached. Kame, the turtle. Old, calm, unimpressed. He looked at Dorilla's empty pile, then at Dorilla himself.
You're not broke,
Kame said. Dorilla let out a dry laugh.
Feels like it.
Kame shook his head.
No, broke is when you have no options. You still have one.
Dorilla looked up.
What option?
Kame paused, then said something Dorilla didn't expect.
Earn again.
Dorilla frowned.
At my age?
Kame nodded slowly.
Especially at your age.
Because what Dorilla didn't realize yet was that retirement wasn't the end of earning. It was the moment you had to become smarter about it. Dorilla frowned.
Earn again? Kame, I'm not climbing trees or hauling logs anymore.
Kame nodded.
Good. That's not your advantage anymore.
Dorilla blinked.
Then what is?
Kame sat down slowly.
Experience.
Dorilla almost laughed.
No one pays for experience.
Kame gave him a long look.
That's because most don't know how to package it.
He pointed at Dorilla's old tools, worn but well kept.
You spent 40 years managing banana storage, preserving food, preventing waste, yes?
Dorilla nodded slowly. Kame continued.
And every rainy season, half the forest loses their food supply, correct?
Dorilla leaned forward.
Correct.
Kame smiled slightly.
Then why are you sitting here broke when you know how to solve a problem others still have?
Silence. Then it clicked. Dorilla didn't need a new career. He needed a small, simple way to turn what he already knew into income. Not a big win, just a useful one. The next morning, Dorilla made a sign. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't fancy. It barely stood upright. Banana preservation help. 5 bananas per visit. Saru walked by and burst out laughing.
Dorilla, you're charging for advice now. Who's paying for that?
Dorilla shrugged.
We'll see.
Hours passed. Nothing. Then, just before sunset, a young rabbit approached.
I heard you know how to keep bananas from rotting.
Dorilla nodded. 20 minutes later, Dorilla showed him simple storage tricks. Shade positioning, airflow, timing. Nothing revolutionary, just practical. The rabbit handed him 5 bananas. Dorilla stared at them like they were gold, because they were. It wasn't about the amount, it was proof he wasn't out of the game. He just needed to play it differently. From that day on, Dorilla stopped asking, "Am I too old?" and started asking, "Is this useful to someone?" Within weeks, more animals came. Not hundreds, not even dozens, but enough. Enough to cover food, enough to stop the bleeding, enough to breathe again. Dorilla wasn't rich, but he was no longer sinking. And that's when Kamei returned.
You see it now?
The turtle asked. Dorilla nodded.
It's not about making a lot. It's about not depending on one pile.
Kamei smiled.
Exactly. Most retirees fail not because they didn't save, but because they stopped earning completely.
Dorilla thought about that. Kamei continued.
You don't need a massive business. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to take big risks.
He looked directly at Dorilla.
You need one small, reliable stream built on something you already understand.
Dorilla leaned back, thinking. Because if a few animals were willing to pay, what would happen if he improved it, expanded it, simplified it? For the first time in years, Dorilla wasn't worried about running out. He was thinking about growing again. Dorilla sat outside his hut, watching another satisfied customer walk away. Then he noticed something. He was repeating the same advice again and again. Same questions, same answers, same 20 minutes. Dorilla scratched his head.
There has to be a smarter way.
So he tried something new. He carved his knowledge into simple wooden boards. Keep bananas off the ground. Airflow prevents rot. Don't store ripe with unripe. Basic, clear, repeatable. Then he placed them near his hut. Learn it yourself, 2 bananas. Saru walked by again, smirking.
Now you're selling signs.
Dorilla shrugged.
I'm selling time.
And it worked. Some animals paid for the signs, others still paid for personal help. Same knowledge, but now Dorilla wasn't trading only time for income. He was building something that worked even when he rested. Not big money, but smarter money. Months passed. Dorilla's pile of bananas returned. Then it grew. Then it stabilized. But something else changed. Dorilla stopped waking up with that quiet panic, that feeling of running out. Instead, he had options. He could work that day or not. He could help others or just enjoy the forest. One morning, Saru showed up again, this time looking stressed.
Dorilla, I think I messed up.
He said quietly.
The investment?
Dorilla asked. Saru nodded.
It's gone.
Dorilla wasn't surprised. No lectures, no "I told you so." He simply handed Saru one of the wooden boards. Saru frowned.
What's this?
Dorilla smiled.
A start.
Because Dorilla finally understood something most never do. Freedom isn't about stopping work. It's about removing desperation. Kamei returned one last time. He looked at Dorilla's system. The boards, the steady flow, the calm energy.
You've done well.
Kamei said. Dorilla nodded.
It's simple, but it works.
Kamei smiled.
That's why it works.
Then he turned slightly, as if speaking to more than just Dorilla.
Most people wait too long. They think they need something big, something new, something complicated.
He shook his head.
But in reality, your best opportunity is usually built on what you already know.
Dorilla added quietly.
And it doesn't have to make you rich.
Kamei nodded.
It just has to make you stable.
Then Dorilla looked out at the forest.
If I started this 5 years earlier,
Kamei interrupted gently. But you didn't, which means the next best time was when you finally did. Dorilla sat outside his hut again. Same chair, same forest, but everything felt different. Because now his future didn't depend on a shrinking pile. It depended on something far more powerful. His ability to create value no matter his age. He looked directly ahead, thoughtful. If you had to start again tomorrow, what would you offer? Not what sounds impressive, not what everyone else is doing, but something simple, useful, something you already understand. Because the truth is, most people don't run out of time, they run out of income. And the ones who adapt, they don't just survive retirement, they quietly rebuild freedom. So here's the question. If you were Dorilla, what small skill would you turn into income today? Let me know in the comments.